سارة، صار عندي حادث سيارة واتصلت بالمحامي كيجي. قصدين أنت المحامي كيج؟ يعني هذا المكتب اللي قالوا عليه أكبر مكتب محاماة عربي كلداني بأمريكا، قاجي؟
لا أنا محامي بالكاجي لا. أنا أعرف لورنس، هو قال لي كاجي لا.
أنا أعرف العائلة زين، يقولوها قاجي.
بعد أي حادث سيارة اتصلوا بيا، أنا محامي لورنس قاجي. 248-702-6641 248-702-6641.
It's been crazy. Yeah.
أعزائي المستمعين، أهلا وسهلا بكم أيضا مرة أخرى في برنامج المحامي لورنس قاجي. وقبل كل شيء نرحب بالمحامي لورنس قاجي. Welcome, Mr. Lawrence.
Thank you so much for having us this week.
Welcome, Mr. John.
Thank you so much for having us. As always, it's a pleasure.
As usual, مرحبا ست تمارة.
يا أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بالجميع.
طبعا كان عندنا في الباك جراوند غير شكل غيرتها تمارة اليوم. المهم انه نمشي على رايها لانه عندها ذوق بصراحه.
شكرا.
Sahar, listen, whatever Tamara says goes, okay? We all know that.
I'm sorry, I will.
Oh my God.
We all know that.
No.
طبعا دائما الاخ لورنس صاحب نكته وحلوه ومريح.
Exactly.
تمام.
Yeah.
Other than the coffee I just spilled on my suit. Other than that, I think it looks good.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. طبعا دائما اليوم ايضا راح نكمل نفس الكلام، لو يعني ايضا نفس القصص
اليوم راح نحكي هم
نعم.
يعني قصص.
نعم.
بس هاي القصص تتضمن مثلا اذا انت سايق اوبر، لو مثلا اذا انت كنت يعني راكب بأوبر، لو مثلا إذا أكو وراك يعني surveillance اللي هو يشوفون يمشون وراك أهل الانشورنس، شنو الأشياء اللي مراقبة، يشوفون شنو الأشياء اللي أنت تسويها وشلون إحنا نتعامل بهيجي أشياء.
يعني قصص من الواقع. نعم.
وجدا مهمة.
نعم.
للجالية مالتنا لأنه هواية تصير هاي الأشياء.
جيد. طبعا دائما راح نقول شيء نقوله دائما، الخطوط مفتوحه اذا احد حب عنده اي سؤال استفسار. اليوم احنا على الهواء وياكم، وتنقل الحلقه لايف على صفحتنا في الفيسبوك وايضا على اليوتيوب. وبدت الاخت تمارة كلام اللي حكتها وراح تسال المحامين
حتى
نبدي.
Yes.
نبدي.
So today we are gonna finish from the couple of weeks our stories, but and these stories are real stories and happened in real life. Today we are going to talk a little bit about if there's a surveillance. One story had a surveillance.
Mm-hmm.
The other story is an Uber story.
Mm-hmm.
Or Lyft.
Mm-hmm.
And we have also a rideshare story. And probably more other stories, and we will go through that.
For sure, should be fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let's jump right in.
Sure, Lawrence, do you want to start us off? Or?
Yeah. So the first case I want to talk about is a case that we get a lot of. So oftentimes we get clients that are injured in car accidents, but they have no broken bones, no scarring, nothing that you can point to and says, hey, that's an injury, obviously.
Yep.
But they're hurting. They do have injuries. They just, you can't see them, from looking at the person. This particular client sustained a back injury from the accident. No broken bones, like I said, no scarring, nothing of that nature. But we took the case on. We worked up very well. He had a lot of really good treatment that helped him out a lot. Actually had a back surgery done, I believe, on this case, and we ended up getting a really, really good amount for him.
Yeah, I think it was a lumbar fusion surgery, if I remember.
Yeah, there was some arguments, obviously, with the the policy insurance company was trying to argue that it was canceled and all that good stuff, which we litigated, we got through, and ended up with a really good settlement. I think it was a little over 400,000.
Yeah, and that was just for the bodily injury portion, right?
Bodily injury portion, right?
Yeah.
And I think there was, in that case, there was actually another accident that happened a month or two prior to this accident, and the insurance company was trying to relate all of his injuries to that first accident.
Yes.
This is another thing we had to litigate.
Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of issues, but we still managed to make it turn out pretty well.
هاي واحدة من القصص كنا بدنا نتكلم بيها الأسبوع الماضي وخلص الوقت. أكثر الحوادث من تصير مو الكل ينجرح لو تنكسر عظامه لو بس أكو أضرار داخلية. هذا الشخص من اجانا الانشورنس ما تدفع. الانشورنس اصلا كنسلت مالته البوليسي لسبب ولآخر. احنا طبعا اخذنا القضيه. هو قبل هذا الحادث قبل بشهرين كان عنده حادث الاخ، كان حادث بسيط وما سوى كل شيء عليه. هم الانشورنس ظلت تحارب، لغوا مالته البوليسي. المحامين طبعا وقفوا ضد الانشورنس. رجعنا البوليسي مالته وصار عنده اوجاع بظهره، سوى عمليه انفيوجن بالظهر، واللي هي يعني كعمليه هي يعني بها بنج ويعني جراحيه، مو فقط اوبرا له هالاشياء. وبس مالته العطل وضرر حصلنا 400,000 بس العطل وضرر بأنه هو تضرر. طبعا هم ظلوا يقولون هذا مو من هذا الحادث، هذا من الحادث الأول. بس كل هذا مشينا بالقضية ونجحنا بها نجاح جدا جيد. وهاي ما عدا مالته البلات وهاي القضية الأخرى. هاي بس العطل وضرر.
He's picking up lingo.
Yes.
So Lawrence, in this case, it sounds like the insurance companies had a lot of different defenses, right? Mm-hmm. There was a prior accident, there were prior injuries, there was an argument about the cancellation of the policy, and yet it turned out very well, right?
There were 4 major issues that we had to litigate.
So is maybe the moral of this story, don't necessarily just agree with the insurance company if they tell you that your claim is denied for some reason. You know, so actually, seek an attorney.
Yeah, so actually, so Preston Denhoff from our office worked on the BI on this case. And you know, he wasn't giving up on this one, you know, with everything that was happening. We won a ton of motions on it, and he fought very hard, ended up getting a good settlement. But it's just kind of what we have to go through. And I'll kind of go through some of these cases and what we see often, you know, oftentimes on a day to day.
Yeah.
هاي هسه القصة اللي حكينا بيها. هذا فد مثال جدا جيد للجالية بأنه إذا الانشورنس تقول أنت هذا ضررك من الحادث الآخر، لو أنت مالتك الباليسي كنسلناها، مو خلاص انتهى الموضوع وتقعد. لا، شوف لك محامي. شوف محامي لورنس قاجي، شوف مكتبنا 248-702-6641. الاستشارة مجانية. هاي القضية من اجى قال اني كنسلوا مالتي الباليسي ودا يقولوا لي اني اضراري من هاك الحادث بيها اشياء كانت صفر، هم
يعني
مو صفر،
كان نهائي
بالناقص. والمحامي واحد من المحامين ويانا كل جدا جدا شاطر، محامي بريستن دنحا، حارب، ظل يحارب وظل يسوي إفادات ويا الكل ونجح وحصل 400,000
Just to put this into perspective, so Tamara, if you can kind of briefly explain case evaluation to the listeners. Obviously, it's when you go in front of a panel of 3 lawyers that's assigned by the court system, and you argue your case, the defense will argue their case, and then those 3 lawyers will put a number on what they think the case is worth.
And by the way, these lawyers are usually experienced lawyers who are in the field that practice in that area of law.
So just to kind of put it into perspective, what kind of uphill battle we had on this case, we went to case evaluation. I think the case it evaluated for $45,000. because of all
something?
the issues. This was before we had, you know, the motions that we won and stuff like that.
Right.
هاي القضية شنو الكيس ايفالويشن؟ الكيس ايفالويشن هي مرحلة ورا ما تسوي الإفادة مالتك ورا ما تحط الانشورنس فالسعر على القضية والطرفين ما يوافقون على هذا السعر. Sorry.
Essentially, they'll give a number on what they think the case is worth.
يعني تخمين نسميه احنا.
It's يعني an agreement. No, not an agreement.
Not agreement. No, what you said.
It's a value. It's a value.
Yeah.
They're putting. They are
تسوى هالقد.
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly right.
تسوى هالقد.
Exactly. But it's not what we think. It's what they are. They
What
think.
the insurance.
right.
No.
No. It's a panel. It's an independent panel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Independent panel.
Sorry, I skipped over.
So اللي صار بأنه الانشورنس
نعم.
كانت احنا يعني ما انطوفت سعر مناسب.
نعم.
لا I had it close. آسفة. الانشورنس ما اتفقنا ويا الانشورنس على مبلغ معين.
نعم.
وراها يسموها كيس ايفالويشن اللي هو يجيبون 3 محامين مشتغلين بالهاي طبعا بهاي الاشياء وبعدين يقعدون قدام المحكمة هي تختارهم. لا من طرفنا ولا من طرف الانشورنس. نقدم كل الأوراق اللي عندنا والإنشورنس تقدم كل الأوراق اللي عندهم. خلوا سعر على هاي القضية بس 45,000.
يعني تقدير هل 3 محامين كان
45,000.
نعم.
محامي بريستون ظل يحارب وياهم وما قبلها وظل إلى على ما وصلنا 400,000.
يعني 10 أضعاف.
بالضبط.
Yeah. So it took maybe 7-8 months to fight back and forth, but obviously I think the client was very happy waiting.
It is worth it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Getting 10 times the amount.
Yes. طولت أكثر 7-8 أشهر.
بس 10 أضعاف.
10 أضعاف وكان الزبون جدا فرحان بالشيء.
So Saad, I kind of want to go outside and kind of touch on these sort of cases. So when I first opened up my law firm, I wasn't getting a lot of big injury cases. I was getting a lot of soft tissue cases like these cases where there was no broken bones, no scarring, but the person said that, you know, their back was injured or their neck was injured, things of that nature. And you know,
the first thing to note is that counts, right? I mean, those are still injuries.
Yeah. So we, you know, for the first probably 2 to 3 years, maybe first couple of years of my career, that was probably 90% of the cases that I was signing up and I was litigating. And I'm just so grateful for those cases that I told, you know, we always go through all of our case lists and stuff like that. And there's always a lot of low value cases. And some of the lawyers in the office, you know, they say, this is a low value case. Let's refer it out to another law firm, a smaller law firm. And I always say, no, this is our bread and butter. And I'm going to continue to take on smaller cases. I don't think it's fair that someone has a bigger case, gets more attention, gets a better firm than someone that has a smaller case. So we give everyone the same attention, and it roots from my experience as a young lawyer taking on these cases and kind of sort of making our way to the top from these smaller cases. Honestly, I mean, that's we worked those up and we got really good numbers, started getting good referrals out of them. And in no doubt in my mind, we are here today because of those cases that, you know, we took on those first few years.
Yes.
From small to big.
Yes.
Okay.
And I still take them, and I'll continue to take them.
You didn't stop.
مثل ما تفضل المحامي لورنس قال بأنه احنا بدأ مالته المكتب جدا صغير. كانوا يمكن محامي هو ومحامي بريستون اثنيناتهم كلش مكتب صغير.
شباب صغار.
بالضبط. أول 2-3 كل القضايا اللي تجيهم قضايا حوادث سيارات صغيرة الأضرار بس ماكو لا كسور ولا مستشفى شغلات بسيطة بس خلى هو عنده بأنه ماكو قضية صغيرة أو كبيرة كلها أخذها قضايا مهمة
ينطيها نفس الأهمية.
بالضبط. واللي هو هذا اللي خلى المكتب يكبر ويصير أحسن. اتعلم من القضايا الصغيرة وشلون سواها كبيرة. وهاي واحدة من الأمثلة اللي هسه حكينا بيها. هذا واحد من الأمثلة اللي أول ما بدينا كانت عندنا.
Because most firms that make it to our size will start referring out the smaller cases, right? And I don't believe in that. I want to take on cases and I want to help people. I had a case that my first year of practice, I had a case that I took on. It was a very small case. We settled it for, I think, it was like maybe around 18,000 we settled it for. And most lawyers would have said, that was a waste. We, 3 years,
wasting time.
3 years of litigating. We made 5 or 6 grand on the case. She then referred a case about 6 months later, one of her relatives, that we settled for like 185,000.
Oh, that means 10
So-
times.
So imagine if I would have referred out that case, that initial one, I wouldn't have got the second referral. So that's that. I want to help people. That's what we're here for.
واحدة من الأمثلة الأخرى بأنه أول ما بدأ كان همينا قضية جدا صغيرة، أخذ من عندها 18,000. أكثر المكاتب الكبيرة هيك قضايا صغيرة ويعني التسوية مالتها صغيرة، دائما يحاولون يودوها للمكاتب الأصغر ما يأخذوها. بس أخذها اللي هو طلع 18,000. هواية مكاتب تقول ورا 3 سنين ما تسوى. بس تعرف شنو اللي صار؟ ورا 6 أشهر قرايبها صار عندها حادث سيارة. هم أخذنا القضية مالتها لأنه هي عرفت إحنا أخذنا قضيتها وسوينا شيء زين إلها. جابت قرايبها و180,000
يعني 10
أضعاف. So it's هاي أهم شيء، بأنه إذا أنت عندك الزبون مرتاح وراضي الأكثر القضايا تجي من واحد من الكلام. بالضبط بالكلام. Exactly.
I have a pretty good story. And it's kind of along these lines a little bit, but it's a case I had litigated quite a few years ago now, but I call it a case of mistaken identity. And I think it's a really fun little case to talk about.
Taking us outside the car accident.
Oh no, it's in the car accident realm, but it's an interesting case. I don't think you've heard this one, but so I had a case many years ago. It was a motor vehicle accident, and she was a young woman who had basically told me and the insurance company and everybody else that she was, really injured in this accident, that she needed what we call attendant care. And we've talked about that on the radio show before, but
Hello.
Oh, we have a caller.
مرحبا.
مرحبا.
أهلا وسهلا.
بس عندي سؤال للمحامي.
اتفضلي.
في صديقتي عندها يعني مشاكل هي وزوجها يريد يطلقها. هي ما ادري تريد يعني اكو فد يعني شغله تسويها تجي يمكم.
اوكي نتصلي بالمكتب ونقدر نساعدك عن هالشيء وندزك الى المحامي الصحيح.
يعني عندكم.
اي عندنا.
اكو يمكم.
I heard something about her husband.
Her husband wants to go through a divorce and she doesn't want to. I said call our office.
Yeah, so we're happy to make referrals for cases.
I heard something about a husband, but I wasn't able to.
Yeah, so we're happy to do our best to assist you. We can certainly get you in contact with an attorney who might be able to give you some advice relating to that issue for sure. Just call our office at 248-702-6641.
Yeah, so tomorrow, if you could
maybe let tomorrow translate that.
So if you could explain that we don't handle this is a family law issue. We don't handle family law, but I do have a lot of lawyers that I've vetted personally that I know personally that will do a good job, and you give us a call, we'll be able to refer her out.
اوكي حبيبي، اتصلي مثل ما قلت لك، اتصلي بينا بالمكتب. احنا شخصيا ما نسويها، بس المحامي لورنس يعرفوا هوايه محامين كل الزيانين للفاميلي لو، وهم يقدرون يساعدون صديقتك. فاحسن شيء اتصلي بينا للمكتب. عندك رقم المكتب؟
هكتب بس الطريقات.
اوكي 248 702 6641. وبس قولي لهم بأنه من الراديو هم يعرفون البنات اللي حتى يساعدوك.
نعم شكرا.
أهلا وسهلا. Thank you.
Thank you for the call.
Yeah, we gotta We got to put down who the referral is, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, anyway, so basically, I was talking about a motor vehicle accident, and as I said, there's a young lady who was pretty severely injured, and she alleged what we call attendant care, and we've talked about that on the show before. And attendant care is a specific type of care. It's not like doing your cooking or cleaning or grocery shopping. This is where you need help, bathing or dressing or moving around. Okay, so she alleged that she was very severely injured, and I'm going to start there.
القصة الجديدة الأخرى المحامي جان هو اللي مشتغل عليها. طبعا هاي صار لها كم سنة. بأنه هاي القصة حسب ما هو قال، بس ما أعرف شنو هي القصة كاملة تفاصيلها. قال بأنه تتحدث بأنه على أكو غلط was it identity you said?
I said it's a case of mistaken identity, but I haven't gotten to that part yet.
Mistaken identity.
In the
لأنه
story.
أكو غلط بالمالتها الاسم. أوكي. فهي بأنه هي كان عندها حادث سيارة وكانت تقدم على المساعدة الشخصية اللي هي واحد يحممك يبدل لك هاي الأشياء الشخصية.
Okay. So, and here's where I think things get really interesting. We've also talked about on this show that insurance companies like to do surveillance, right? In fact, they do it all the time. And this case was definitely no exception.
I know where you're going with this. Actually, I had a case similar to this.
Okay.
I'll share my story after you're done.
Perfect. So
you have an idea.
I know exactly what he's going to say next.
So what happened is the insurance company sent out, they hired a third-party company. Okay. And this third-party company surveilled my client's home for an extended period of time. I don't know how long, but they had a lot of surveillance on this one. And it was really interesting because toward the end of the case, I kept saying, this person is really injured. This should be really worth a lot. And they were offering essentially nothing. I mean, pennies. And I couldn't understand why. And finally, I got a hold of this surveillance. And what did this surveillance show? I'll tell you, it's really interesting. According to the defense, okay, it showed my client lifting up heavy objects like car seats, okay, and getting in cars sort of sideways, moving around, backwards, no assistance needed, no one in sight, driving on her own, okay, and they said, this case is complete fraud and it's worth zero. And here is their surveillance to show it. That's what they said.
So الانشورنس ظلت فترة طويلة تراقب مراقبة جدا طويلة ومدى تخلفت سعر على هاي القضية. وهاي القضية احنا لأنه ما دام بيها مساعدة شخصية معناته بيها أضرار كبيرة. وهم يقولون لا ماكو كل شيء ومدى ينطون السعر الحقيقي. ورا فترة قالوا له احنا عندنا مراقبة بأنه هي تشيل الكراسي مال الطفل من تقعد بالسيارة تدير كل جسمها. فالمراقبة جدا مهمة. واحد لازم كل شيء يدير باله.
وهذا أهم شيء.
لأنه المراقبة مرات تحس بيهم صحيح بس مرات أبدا ما تحس بيهم. لازم واحد كل شيء يدير باله شو يسوي وشو يقول. وصل بأنه وصلت للمحامي بأنه أكو مراقبة.
Yeah. Now they followed her right after she drove away. They followed her all the way to a university, okay, where they saw her get out, walk casually, go into this university, and then, that was where surveillance ended. Now, of course, as an attorney, when you see surveillance and the defense is alleging that your client just basically completely did the opposite of what they claim they can do, you're going to say, whoa, what is going on? I immediately contacted my client, and right away she said, that couldn't be me. There's no way. So I said, okay, no problem. I took the surveillance. I sent it to my client. She looked at it, and immediately on the phone, while I was on the phone with her, the first thing she said is, that's not me. That's my sister.
And she looked like her.
They both wear hijabs. Okay. They're similar heights. They're similar builds, but guess what? Only one of them goes to that university as a student, and it wasn't my client. It was her sister.
Yeah.
So what had happened, they couldn't tell the difference between the sisters and they got it wrong. And long story short, definitely settled this case for a good amount.
I told you I knew what he was going to say.
No, I heard this story. I think from him once.
I have another story actually.
Okay,
So
let's translate it and then.
So المحامي بهيجي وضع لأنه من أكو مراقبة يقولوا لك بأنه هذا الشخص دا يكذب وهاي القضية يعني مالتها من صفر كل شيء ماكو. So قال لهم أوكي كمحامي دزوا لي الشريط مال المراقبة وأريد أشوفه. So شافه دزل هي باوعته قالت له هذا ما يعني أنا ما مسوي هالأشياء. البنت باعته كانت تقول هاي مو أني هاي أختي هم خوات اثنيناتهم يلبسون الحجاب. So نفس الطول هم ونفس الجسم بس وحدة تروح للجامعة وهي ما تروح للجامعة. فكل المراقبة كانت غلط. فربحنا القضية بالضبط. كانوا يراقبون الشخص الغلط وتصير همينه وربحنا القضية بمبلغ جدا جيد.
So I will be very quick because it's almost the same story. I had a client one time that they were surveilling, and they thought they saw her moving a couch from the first floor. From a truck all the way up into the second floor apartment. Couch.
That's it. I don't even think I could do that myself now.
A 3-person couch. Big couch.
Wow.
Yeah. So we were at a settlement conference, and this was the first time they brought it up.
Yes, yeah.
And I think they were trying to use it for impeachment purposes.
That's
anyway,
exactly what it is.
They pulled out the surveillance, and we showed it to our client. And client said, "That's actually my twin sister."
Yes. There you go.
Twin sister. And it was actually her twin sister.
Yeah.
تقريبا نفس القصه مال همينه اكو كان مراقبه وشافوها بانه دا تشيل قنفه من السياره بالضبط من السياره الى الطابق الثاني. سو هوايه مرات الانشورنس ما تقول لك كل شيء الى اخر شيء. So كان عندكو settlement conference هم يعني يريدون يسوون تسوية للقضية وجابوا هالفيلم. So من شافته قالت لهم هاي أختي التوأم. So همنا غلط كانت.
You know, I think it's interesting, and you bring up a really good point here, Lawrence. You know, they brought this up at a settlement conference for you. In my story, this was at the very end of the case. I mean, this was subject to a motion for summary right before we were going to go to trial. You know, why is it we as attorneys are only learning about the surveillance at the end? And the reason is because if you're only going to use something for what they call impeachment purposes, you don't have to disclose it during discovery, which is a crazy rule. But what it means is a lot of defense attorneys will try and withhold this surveillance information until the very last second before trial to try and essentially surprise you. Now, some judges have been frowning on this and they will preclude them from using the evidence. But a lot of the times you only find out about this at the very end, and then you have to scramble to figure out what's going on.
So, Sahar, pretty much they don't have to give it to you up front, and they can use it when you're at trial and you're on the stand and you say something that contradicts the surveillance. That's when they can bring it up for the first time. We don't know about it. Client doesn't know about it. It's a big surprise to everyone.
Right. But only if it's something that it contradicts what the client has said. So, for example, if the surveillance just shows them walking on a street and they ask you, have you ever walked on a street on, I don't know, October 12th? And you say, I might have, then they can't use it for impeachment.
الانشورنس تستعمل المراقبة لهم حق بأنهم ما يقولون للمحامي أي شيء إلى قبل المحكمة إلى مرات إلى المحكمة العليا إلى آخر شيء. الحكام حاليا ما يعجبهم هالشيء ما يقبلون لأنه هاي مو يعني مو عدلة ومو يعني
تأخير وقت بس هذا
بالضبط. المحامين ما يعرفون كل شيء. الزبون ما يعرف كل شيء ويستعملوها إذا أكو كلام غير متطابق. مثلا إذا سألوك
قصدك الانشورنس
بالضبط.
نعم.
يستعملوها ضد الزبون إذا كان كلامهم ما مطابق.
نعم.
مثلا إذا قالوا لك أنت كنت تمشي، تقول لهم إيه أدري يمكن إيه بس ما أتذكر شو وقت. هو ما قال لا ما يقدرون يستعملوها ضده. فأي شيء بس إذا قال لا أنا ما أقدر أمشي خطوة وبعدين شافوه مشى مثلا من الباب لنهاية الجراج، انتهى، هاي القضية صفر لأنه كذب.
زين أنتم هذه الشغلات تنبهون الكلاينت؟
Yes.
No.
Yes. He is asking, do we let our clients know about these kind of surveillances? And do we let them know not what to say,
how to act?
Well, yes. So the short answer is sort of yes. Go ahead. I'm sorry, you were saying.
Go ahead.
The short answer is sort of yes. I mean, we actually talk about the fact that they are surveilled the very first time we meet with them. And I literally talked to someone today about that who came into the office for the first time. And I said, hey, look, insurance companies do watch you. So, you just have to make sure you're consistent, right? I mean, that's all it is. You tell the truth, it's not going to be a problem.
Yeah. So, no, we don't tell them how to act and what to do in certain situations. But first time we meet with them, we will tell them that there could be someone that's surveilling you. There could be someone that's looking at your Facebook, looking at your Instagram, looking at Snapchat. I think it's private.
But that means you have to fight for your client.
You have to let them know. You don't want them to be surprised.
Exactly. أول ما يجي الزبون إحنا ما نقول له إيش راح يقول، بس راح نقول له بأنه احتمال أكو مراقبة. دير بالك. ما نعرف يا انشورنس يسوي مراقبة، ما حد يدري. بس إحنا دائما نقول دير بالكم أكو مراقبة. فالأحسن شيء دائما قول الصراحة. اكو مراقبه ولا ماكو مراقبه مو مشكله. يقدرون يراقبون الفيسبوك مالتك، يقدرون يراقبون الانستغرام مالتك، يقدرون يراقبون
حركاتك
كلها. كل شيء يقدرون يراقبون ولهم حق بهالشيء لانه احنا رافعين قضيه ضدهم. احسن شيء بانه انت تقول الحقيقه
لان انت بتاذي already.
بالضبط.
So not only that, but the last thing you want is a jury to think that you're exaggerating your symptoms or things of that nature. So you always tell the truth, and whatever it is, we'll be able to work with it usually.
That's right. That's right.
وكون يعني صريح ويا المحامي مالتك وتقول له كل شيء، لأنه ذاك الوقت نقدر إحنا نوقف وندافع عنك، لأنه إذا تطلع على غفلة وما ندري الدفاع ما يصير قوي بعد.
لأنه أكو إثباتات.
وأهم شيء من تكون صريح. طبعا الانشورنس من يسألك بالإفادة أسئلة، كل هاي الأسئلة الأجوبة هم عندهم، بس يريدون يشوفون أنت شو بالضبط.
Yeah, I mean, the fastest way to torpedo a case is to not tell your attorney the truth. I mean,
يعيدون عليك نفس السؤال في عدة مرات يعني.
عدة أشكال، عدة مرات، عدة طرق. يشوفون أنت شنو جوابك من البداية.
اختلاف لو ما
عافية، يعرفون إذا أنت تحاول تحكي غلط لو تراوغ بالضبط. وإذا تريد قضيتك رأسا تسقط لا تقول الحقيقة ولا لا تقول كل شيء للمحامي رأسا، القضية ما تمشي.
طبعا أي واحد عنده سؤال استفسار احنا وياكم باقي لنا حوالي 15 دقيقة أو 20 دقيقة، فتقدرون تتصلون على 586-825-2015. الاستشارات كلها مجانية في مكاتب قاجي لو فيرم، ورقمهم هو 248-702-6641. Last time 4 of us we said repeat the number.
The number, yes.
Yeah. So as year after year, we started getting more injury cases or better injury cases. I want to talk about one that we litigated a couple years back. Where John, if you remember this case, where the client was rear-ended by a semi-truck.
Oh yeah.
And you see a lot of advertisements regarding trucking cases, and there's a reason for that, obviously.
Yep.
Trucking cases generally have higher policy limits that you're working with, and or they're working for a company that's collectible. Right. So policy limits may not even be an issue in those cases. So I do want to talk about one trucking case that we had.
القضية هاي همنا غير قضية. هاي القضية الزبون كان يسوق واللوري على السماي تراك.
هذا اكبر كيس.
هاي اكثر الكيسز كبيره تكون مالتهم العطل وضرر مالتهم يكون كبير. قسم من عندهم مفتوح ما بي ليميت يعني مال تراك اكزاكتلي
تابعين شركات
بالضبط الى شركات كبيره. و it was go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was actually a head injury. She sustained a fractured skull and had some bleeding in the brain. So yeah, very unfortunate. And
it was a unique way the accident happened too, right? I mean, I think that it was 2 hits in this case.
Yes, there was.
They were rear-ended by the semi truck, which forced them into opposing traffic, causing them to get hit a second time head on. Very, very serious accident. So.
Semi too?
There was another car.
It was an F-150. So
there were 2 trucks.
but the initial hit was caused by the semi truck.
By a semi truck.
So they're the ones that are going to be held liable.
That's right.
That means
assuming the other truck did nothing wrong. I mean, if someone
it wasn't his fault.
If someone jumps in your lane and you're driving straight at 70 miles an hour, it's going to be very hard to avoid that accident.
Right.
So
he can't stop because
it is funny because you are talking about the case and I knew immediately which case it was. So I know who was the other driver.
Driver of 150, you know it.
لا ما أعرف.
No,
she worked on the case.
She said without me saying the person's name or anything, she knew which case I was talking about.
Just describe it.
هاي الحادث شلون صار؟ دا يمشون والسماي تراك ضربهم من وراء، دفعهم بحيث افترت السيارة، صارت على الصفحة الثانية على الدتجي، انضربوا مرت اللخة من قدام ويا فورد 150 اللي هاي التراك، مو سماي تراك just a normal تراك. يعني تفلشوا. البنت هم كانوا 3 بالسيارة، الخوات. البنت اللي ورا كلهم طبعا تأذوا كلش، بس البنات لأن كانوا لابسين حزام اللي قدام أضرارهم أقل من الأخت اللي ورا. الأخت اللي ورا صار عندها كسر بالدماغ بالجمجمة، عفوا، صار عندها نزيف بالدماغ، كلش تأذت. لحد الآن هي بكرسي مال متحرك لحد الآن. Yes.
Actually, in that case, there was one of the doctors
at the
hospital said that she was exaggerating her injuries and didn't think that she was injured. And I was looking at that note, I'm like,
oh, it's crazy.
On?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Why would her doctor say that?
Yeah.
Made no sense to me.
Yeah. Well, and this is one of the other problems that we as attorneys come up with. Sometimes these doctors don't actually realize the severity of the symptoms are as serious as they are, right? Because there are a lot of different kinds of doctors. I don't think it was that. I think that there are just a lot of different kinds of doctors who have different specialties. And one of the doctors that attended her thought, nah, this can't be right. There's no way she's that injured. And just wrote in there the term malingering, and it caused a huge problem.
طبعا رأسا ناخذوها للمستشفى. واحدة من التقارير من الأطباء اللي بالمستشفى قال بأنه هاي البنت ما بيها شيء وقاعد يعني تكبرها للقضية. هي البنت راسها يعني الجمجمة مكسورة وعندها ضغط بالدماغ لأنه دا ينزف. بس هو يقول فهاي همينة فد نقطة تستعمل ضدنا ولوش هيك يفكر
مثلا.
Exactly.
I have an idea. Maybe he works for the insurance company.
Could be.
I want to say it, but
he's like, oh no, I'm pretty sure.
بالمستشفى مرات عدة أطباء يجون ويطلعون من الغرفة، خاصة من أكو هيك حادث.
ما يعرف بالضبط يعني.
لو مرات احتمال يخربطون بين غرفة وغرفة تصير، يعني هو همينه إنسان وهمينه معرض للخطأ، بس هاي الأخطاء كبيرة تكون.
تصير مثل أشعة يأخذ الواحد ويطلع من غير واحد.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. I just have to say, imagine for a second that you're someone who just had a major brain injury, right? And all of a sudden you physically can't walk, right? And you're being told that you're making it up. I mean, that's got to be something.
Yeah, that must have hurt.
So anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I mean,
what you were saying.
it was, honestly, that case was already very good. We worked it up and we did what we had to do. And we ended up with a really, really high settlement.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
مشينا بالقضية، حاربنا هذا الشيء اللي بالمستشفى. البنت لحد الآن هي يعني إذا تمشي احتمال توقع، سو ما يصير.
يعني هسه this case
Yeah.
is open till now مثلا.
We just settled it for للعطل وضرر. بس بعدها still open for PIP is still open.
لأنه هو مال truck يعني it's worth it millions sometimes.
Yeah.
So the medical would still be open because the client's still getting treatment.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they can get treatment for as long as they need to, up to whatever policy limits are applicable to the PIP, which today is, that changes now today with current policies, but older policies are unlimited. So
طبعا العطل وضرر خلصنا القضية بتسوية جدا جدا كبيرة، وبس الطبابة بعدها مفتوحة لأنه وتقدر قد ما تحتاج طبابة تظل تتعالج. نعم. بعدها 18 19 20 سنة عمرها، صغيرة وهي بعدها على بالويلشير. يس. فمهم جدا حتى اللي يقعد لي ورا يلبس حزام الأمان. Please. Very important.
Definitely.
Even the back passenger needs to put a seatbelt on.
Yeah, definitely.
Because this is one of the.
The car should not move unless everyone has a seatbelt on in the car.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen very bad things happen, and it's very important.
أبد لا تحركون أي سيارة على ما الكل لابسين حزام الأمان.
مرات يتعاركون ما يقبل يصير. ليه قدام يقول لك no.
Yeah. So I do. So this was a bigger case that we litigated. I do want to tell the listener. So obviously, John, the firm is pretty young, right? I'm a young guy. I have a lot of experience, but some people want an older lawyer that think they have more experience, right? I do want to tell everyone, feel comfortable. If you have a higher injury case, a bigger case, we handle those, we litigate those all the time.
Yep.
And in my opinion, I think we do the best job with them. So just because we're a young firm, that doesn't mean that we're not experienced. We've settled over, it's probably around 3,000 cases right now that we've settled.
Can I say one thing about that case?
I wanted to translate that. Yeah.
About that one case. About the referral, can we say how did they hear about us?
Yeah, it's still a mystery. Actually, it's like
well, it is somebody who worked in a furniture shop who knew that you shopped once there, and he had your name, and he told her go there.
And it was crazy because I spent like I don't know how long kind of trying to figure out who this person was. And it was just somebody that just heard good things about us. It wasn't.
So هاي أبسط الأشياء. راح في اليوم إلى محل مالت أثاث وحكى ويا أبو الأثاث وقال له هاني ترى يعني محامي وهذا كارتي. من صار الحادث.
I actually don't even remember doing that.
Oh.
I really don't.
Okay.
I remember going to that store, but I don't remember
giving
any card. Like I don't remember talking to this person, honestly.
Oh, okay.
But you gave him your card.
Sorry. The thing is, we have a pretty good presence, right? So I think
32 years old.
Who, me? Yeah. I'm a little older than that. We have a good presence and we have a good reputation. So even though I don't know someone personally, we still get a lot of those referrals.
الشيء المهم مثل ما تفضل المحامي صح هو بعد بداية شباب بداية حياته المكتب جديد
مو جديد هسه صار 9 سنوات مو جديد
لا مو جديد
بس for a law firm that is relatively
that is law firms
relatively new
بالضبط
firms that are 50 like Some of my competitors have been around for 100 years.
100 years.
صحيح
But it's not so much about the age of the firm; it's about who's in it.
Yeah.
بالضبط.
Right.
It's about
هي
experience.
مو بس همنا اكسبيرينس، احنا عندنا اللي ببالنا خاصه الجاليه مالتنا احنا كعرب
نعم.
بانه لازم المحامي كبير بالعمر على اساس عنده خدمه طويله، ما يقولون اوه لا هو تعبان وبعد ما بيحيل. بالعكس
That's wrong.
I didn't say that.
That's wrong.
I didn't say that.
هو
Wasn't
ما
a
قال
sentence.
No, she translated.
I added it. I added it and it is true. It is true.
No, it's not.
Well, it's true. And best.
What did you say? What was the added? Did you hear? I didn't
I
catch
said
that.
they think always
She
The-
threw a little
the-
line in there.
a line in there that the older they are, the better. But they
Ah.
don't think, oh, okay, the older one is also tired and
Okay.
he doesn't want to, you know.
I see. I see.
Or he's saying, oh, that's enough. I don't need to go the extra mile yet. So, I still hold my words. المهم المحامي
She heard me.
صح. لا.
No, I like Lawrence. I didn't say that. Just to be clear, it wasn't me.
It was me.
John said it.
I didn't say it either. Just to be clear.
This is being recorded, right?
Yeah.
It's already recorded.
It's okay.
It's on air.
It's okay.
Right.
So ما تخلوني احكي.
Yeah, this is live. No takesy backsies
Yeah.
here. So
So
No, but she had something very important to say, honestly.
yeah.
Yeah.
المهم بأنه تشوف محامي شاطر يسعى من بدأ كانوا محامين 2 هسه 30 شخص بالمكتب، معناته شاطر. التسويات عالية جدا، الطاقة الإيجابية، اللغة اللي احنا نقدمها مو الكل تقدمها.
صحيح.
يعني-
اللغات.
اللغة جدا مهمة بين الزبون والمحامي مالته، لأنه يعني إذا ما تعرف إيش دا يقول انتهى
كل الصعبة.
كل الصعبة.
نعم.
3/4 القضية بأنه أنت والمحامي تكونون على متفاهمين
صحيح.
بالضبط،
صحيح.
وهاي جدا مهمة.
صحيح.
You know, I have probably 20 lawyers in the area that send me accident cases just because they don't understand what the client's saying, and it makes it difficult, you know.
Exactly. حتى ما دائما دارنا المحامين هواي محامين يدزونا إلنا همينا لأنه اللغة. وفعلا من نحكي ويا الزبون واللغه ومن اقعد وياهم يقول ايه لك عيني هسه افتهم. ايه اكزاكتلي يس. اور والله مرات يطلعون الدمعه بعينهم because ارتاحوا لانه اكو احد يفتهمهم ويقدرون يحكون مشاعرهم همينه. هاي فشي جدا مهم.
No, you got to understand. The worst thing that can happen is if you and your client are not understanding each other and not seeing eye to eye. I mean, it's just not good for the case.
كافي واحد من يشيل التليفون تقول مرحبا هلا ولبي هلا وحبيبتي. That makes so much difference.
It's just our culture, right? It's
yes,
kind of,
it is our culture. It makes so much difference when a client called you and say, "Hi, my in Arabic."
Not only hi, how can I help you?
Exactly. لا.
And when you call in, both of our receptionists speak the language. You can call in. We understand. And we'll either be able to help you or get you in the right place.
البنات اللي قدام همينه هذا فشي جدا جدا مهم، وهم وجه المكتب كله. اثنيناتهم يحكون عربي، اثنيناتهم كلش قادرين على مساعدة أي أحد يخابر على أي نوع قضية، متدربات بشكل عالي ولغة ممتازة، كل شيء يعرفون. Yes.
And remember, when you come into our office, you meet with the paralegal and the attorney the same day that you come in.
ويوم اللي الزبون من يجي
I'm usually the one.
لأول مرة دائما يلتقي بالباراليجل والمحامي نفسه. نعم، دائما بأول يوم أنت تلتقي بمحامي لازم.
طبعا باقي لنا تقريبا 3 دقائق.
I'm always looking at that clock and see if you
don't look there. Yeah, that's
wait, we're really. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
It's all the time we got left.
That's wrong.
That one's wrong. That one.
is okay.
That one. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, why don't we put up a fourth clock with it, and a third clock with different times, just to make it more confusing?
Time off everywhere, like that's New York.
Oh, I see. Okay. Got it. Good to know. New York's only 3 minutes different from the other one. Are you sure? Interesting.
Interesting.
I'm gonna have to look this one up. I'm not sure that this is accurate, but it's a good idea. So I'm sorry. So how many minutes do we have left now?
3 minutes.
Oh, 3 minutes. All right. Well, here, Lawrence, you want to talk about this before? I think.
Yeah, I mentioned that already. That that.
Okay. All right.
Yep. Clients will meet with us same day.
Yeah.
Should we
go
with...
Well, you know what? I've got a real short story. It's not a case or anything, but it's just something that happened the other day. Since we were talking about how our firm does things, right?
I don't want to get into another story that's going to
Yeah. So I've just got one real quick one.
Yes.
I had a caller call in just the other day that I talked to. Had absolutely basically there's no case here. She was just calling in about her insurance because she wanted to add her, because she had cure, she had cure, and cure just added her daughter onto her policy, and she didn't know why. Her daughter didn't live with her. Her daughter didn't drive her car. Her daughter was 25 years old and had nothing to do with the insurance. But for whatever reason, she just been added onto the policy, and the mother was calling and saying, what do I do? And I said to her, listen, this isn't a case. This isn't something we're going to represent you for. But I gave her 2 pieces of sort of informal advice. I said, look, if it were me, here's what I'd do. First, I'd try calling Cure, and I'd say, she doesn't live with me. And if they're fighting you on it, provide them proof. Give them, her ID, or if she's got a lease agreement, something like that. And if they still won't do it, if they won't change it, then just get a new insurance company. Just switch insurance companies, get a new policy from somebody else. And the reason I kind of tell that story is not to say, hey, look, this was a great case and we made all this money on it. We didn't make any money.
But it's something that we do probably 10 times a day.
Exactly. So my point is, if anyone out there has questions for us, even if you don't think it's a case, just call us. We'll talk.
Because everything is free.
Exactly.
هاي القصة هي مو حادث سيارة. الزبونة خابرت قالت أني الانشورنس مالتي بنتي ما عايشة وياي ولا تسوق سيارتي و25 وضافوها على مالتي الانشورنس. المحامي جان قالها احنا من ناخذ هيك قضايا راح نعطيك حلول وانت شوفي اياه ترهم لك. خابري الانشورنس قولي لهم هي ما تعيش وياي ونطيهم يعني شهاده او افاده معلومات بانه هي ما تعيش ويانا. ما قبلوا غيري الانشورنس مالتك، روحي على غير انشورنس وانتهى الموضوع. يعني هاي ما لها علاقه لا بحادث سياره اي احد بالضبط. وهاي الاشياء تصير بالنهار 10 15 مره الناس يخابرون ويسالون. احنا المكتب مفتوح لاي سؤال عندكم، رجاء ان تتصلوا بينا والاستشاره مجانيه.
انا راح اقول شغله طبعا بالنسبه للمستمعين وايضا مشاهدينا، الكلام اللي تحكيه الاخت تمارا واللي حكاه المحامي لورنس او المحامي جان حقيقي 100%. يعني انتم مثل ما هم هسه بالوقت الحاضر تشوفوهم او تسمعوهم هم نفس الشيء بالمكتب
بالضبط.
يعني يساعدون اكثر بعد.
Exactly.
I want to be a resource for our people to call in, ask questions, and like I said, it's always free. So use us as a resource. Call us.
دائما استعملوا المكتب مالتنا كحل اي سؤال عندكم، مو الا حادث سياره. اتصلوا بينا 248-702-6641 والاستشاره مجانيه.
أعزائي المستمعين وأخوتنا المشاهدين، نشكر المحامي لورنس قاجي والمحامي جان شرودر وأيضا الأخت العزيزة الباراليغل تمارا للترجمة بصراحة، وهي أيضا يعني أنا بالنسبة لي هي محامية، فنسميها محامية لأنه تعرف كل القضايا الموجودة في المكتب. يتكلمون العربي، يتكلمون الفلداني، واستشاراتهم مجانية. فنقول لكم نلتقيكم الأسبوع القادم إن شاء